Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Command Center, where we like to put our favorite commanders, maybe even yours, front and center. And you know we can't do that unless we're playing those three captivating letters, EDH. What does this stand for, Derek?
And that stands for eradicating double-crossing homies.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get rid of the homies sometime, because today we're talking about Law 2 of the Laws of Power, which is never put too much trust in friends. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Don't do it.
So we wanted to come back with the Law 2, the Laws of Power series, because we got a lot of good reception from the first one. So we're going to keep this up and, again, apply as many of the 48 Laws of Power to Magic the Gathering as possible. All right. So Law 2, never put too much trust in friends. So we're just going to go through a couple of bullet points to kind of summarize what this means, either in the business world, in the world of friendship, in the world of relationships, whatever, just to throw it out there so you have a better understanding of what that is. So one bullet point that they have with this law is try not to confuse boundaries when you have a power dynamic of friendships. All right, so technically, if you're a businessman and you hire a friend, try not to confuse boundaries. Similar to Magic as well. Am I right?
No, that's the truth. Basically, you want to make sure that the dynamic, there's an understanding. Because the thing is, in Magic, you really don't have teammates. And especially in Commander, it's a free-for-all. So you need to realize there's boundaries. And if you start treating people as just your complete ally, you're going to be getting stabbed in the back way more often than you think is necessary. Because there really are no allies.
That's right. Point number 2. Look for envy and ingratitude when it comes to these friendship relationships in the business world or in Magic. This relates more to the business world, but we just wanted to throw that out there so you have a better understanding. You may be doing very well. You've created this allyship, this partnership with someone, and they may just be a little envious of the board state or what you're doing with your deck as well, and find ways to make a deal with someone else and stab you in the back. That's as best as I could put it.
It's the truth. People can get way too comfortable. If you have a friend that you consistently, when you get scared, you don't attack them first because that's my friend, I'm not going to do anything to you. All of a sudden, they're just going to get way, way too comfortable. And then they might even be ungrateful for that. Whereas if you're playing against somebody you don't know and you make a conscious decision, let them know I'm not swinging at you, you can get a favor back. Whereas that friend is just assumed that's what you're supposed to do.
That's right. Last little point of summation we want to have for this one is closest friends can be transformed into the worst enemies. All right, so you can go into a game thinking that you're buddy with a person, maybe even from outside of the game. Like, this is my homeboy, this is my homie. We go back since 4 flat tires on the highway. All right, so you sit down at a table and out of nowhere, what's happening? I thought we had an allyship just coming into the game. Or I thought we made a deal. What's going on? You just turned on me out of nowhere. It's crazy. It's crazy. But leave those emotions on the game table, not outside.
Always. And one of the biggest things with this law is with your friends, you can't predict your friends sometimes. Your enemies, if you're playing with somebody you don't know, you always assume the worst. With your friend, it's really easy to get really comfortable. And I don't know about other people, I'm way more likely to do something crazy and break an alliance with one of my friends than a random person. I might be able to laugh it off and find it funny. I'm not going to do that to somebody I don't know. And you got to keep that in mind because your friend might be thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah. So those are just quick little summations when it comes to the actual law. Next, we're going to get into flavor text highlighting what we're talking about. And then after that, we'll go into how to actually apply this to the game of Magic the Gathering, specifically Commander. All right. So the card that we want to spotlight today that represents this law, we're looking specifically at the flavor text of Cephalid Snitch. It's a 1-drop in blue. Doesn't really matter. We don't care. Whatever. We're looking at the flavor text. But the artwork is pretty nice, though.
It is very fancy.
Yeah.
I love those old artworks.
You got to pay attention to those cephalids a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. But the flavor text on Cephalid Snitch says, the cautious are wary of their enemies. The wise are also wary of their friends. So this is exactly what we're talking about here.
You couldn't get any more perfect. It's essentially written for this law, and it is the truth. Like that is word for word exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So debate us. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe you agree. Let's move on to actual tips and how to actually play using this law of power. First tip we have for you when it comes to this. Your enemies expect nothing. So they will be surprised when you're actually generous to them. So this actually comes from the law itself, but we want to apply this to Magic as well. So let's break it down a little bit more.
No, that's the truth. A specific card I'll talk about in this situation that I love to play is called Peer's Whim. Essentially, you choose ally or
Friend or foe.
Oh, it's friend or foe. So you choose friend or foe for each player at the table. Every friend gets a land and gets to put it into play. Any land, and every foe has to sack an artifact or enchantment. And when I play this, I have noticed when I play it with people I know, they don't seem very grateful when I give them the land. I don't seem to get favors back, not singling anybody out. But they don't seem to do favors back because it's kind of like, why would you take my artifact or enchantment? Just give me a land. But if I'm playing with somebody I've never met before, I get a whole different look all of a sudden when I say, you're my friend. And while they might not say it right back, that changes how they feel about you at the table. And having that extra, it's almost like having an extra line of text on the card that you're only going to get dealing with people that see you as a foe.
That's right. And this actually leads into our second tip, play strategy. An enemy spared the guillotine will be more grateful than a friend. So when you're actually, doing niceties or doing favors for people that you probably outright may consider an enemy, or they may consider you an enemy, do a favor for them at the table or make a deal that works out in both of your favors, or maybe just specifically in their favor, and it kind of changes the dynamic in a way. Like there's like, okay, you did help me out that one time. Or specifically, I want to call in the last Game Nights episode, the bear deck, and Jimmy. He made that deal at the very beginning of the game, and it came back to bite him towards the end, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Because he said, "I'm going to call in a favor, and you have to do it if I spare not killing this card this one time." So it worked out in the bear deck's favor all the way towards the end.
Yeah, and it happens in degrees too. And I feel like on one far side where it's never going to work out is if you're playing with your best friend, you're going to make an offer, but you don't know how really much that it's going to matter because, again, they might expect it. All the way to the other extreme, if there's another player on the board you can kill, they could be your biggest enemy and you could just take them out of the game. They will never be more willing to make a deal, and probably an extreme deal, than in that moment. I've gotten more deals made where, you don't attack me for 3 whole turns because I was able to kill somebody. If I turn to my friend and say that, he's going to laugh in my face and be like, oh, okay. Like, it's never going to work. Unless I started getting Jedi mind powers, it won't work with your friends.
You will not attack me.
Yeah. I need to learn that. I'd be so much better at Magic if I could do that.
Yeah, if you had Jedi mind tricks, this would make this so much easier. But we're going to do the psychological game instead and hope that it works out in our favor. All right. Next one, also kind of very similar to these other two. You destroy an enemy when you make them a friend. Keep that in mind. So if you, like we said, make deals and make favors that turn out slightly in their interest, but not too much. Remember, law number 1: don't do too much. But but just enough that they can stabilize, but not take you out the game. You never know where they may take you. Making deals with people who straight up consider you an enemy at the table, or someone that's not outright a friend of yours, you never know where they will go.
100%. Now, obviously, there's always exceptions. If someone's playing Urza, if someone's playing Food Chain Prosh, if someone's playing just something broken, kill them and ask questions later. Don't worry about this. But other than those type of decks that can just kill you out of nowhere, it's almost always better if you can kill a player early on to not, and then let them know you could.
Yeah.
Because that is the type of deal where they are going to be grateful. That's the type of deal where they're not an enemy anymore. You essentially eliminate them from the game. You're destroying the enemy, and you're gaining an ally in a game that is not meant to have true allies.
Yeah, especially if there's another player that may be stronger than the two of you. This also kind of relates back to law number 1, but this is a time to create an allyship to take down a stronger player or just knock them down a peg. And you have that mutual understanding that, we're only doing this right now to keep that player in check. After that, all bets are off.
And the thing is, especially in Magic, you can't trust people. And one of the few instances where you can feel like you can is when someone else's life in the game is in your hands. That's the best shot you got at trusting somebody. So if you had the ability to kill them, and if they go and double cross you at that point, in the future, never. You're just going to take them out every time. But most people don't want to waste that and don't want to give away their credibility in a situation like that.
Yeah, and that actually is very tied into our very last tip. Enemy at your heels keeps you sharp, alert, and focused. So essentially what this is saying is that if you have a player at the table who can maybe match your deck, or their deck kind of goes a little bit against your deck, you're going to be very focused on that player and their deck and their strategies. That could be a potential ally at the table. Not in a sense that, you're just going to be buddy and just kill everybody. But, you have an opportunity to kind of, make deals with them so that they don't outright outmatch your deck or outpace your deck. There's specific situations, but I'm sure you can think about those types.
And the way I kind of interpret this too is you're going to be much more on your game playing against an enemy or, like you said, a deck that's opposing you. Mm-hmm. If I'm just playing with my friends, so me, you, and Ken are playing, I'm going to be kind of laid back. Y'all can play a card I've never seen before that can just destroy my deck. I might not even read it. I'm just sitting there like, oh, do you? You're good. I'll figure this out later. But if I'm playing against somebody I don't know, maybe somebody I don't like, something like that, or if their deck is directly opposing me, so if I'm playing a graveyard strategy, they got an Anafenza, or if I'm trying to play my Bow Smasher Crazy Ramp deck and they're playing the Azorius thing where you can't cast spells for higher CSC than your lands, that would just shut my deck off. All of a sudden, I'm going to be on the top of my game paying attention to everything played because I know if I don't and I slip up, I might not get to play at all.
Yeah, and that could be a position to make a deal with that Lavinia player. Like, hey, give me a turn or two to cast something. I promise it won't affect you. After that, we'll be back to doing what we do.
Exactly.
You never know. You never know how it goes. But these are just our quick little tips and strategies as far as applying law number 2 to the game of Commander. So we want to do a little Commander highlight to see if there's any commanders just outright that kind of fits this narrative, that kind of fits this law. You came up with a good 2, I think, that really fits just off the top of the head. So first one is Tasigur, and I'll let you explain that one.
Yeah, I feel like Tasigur sums this law perfectly because it gives you the ability, it's a political commander in some ways to begin with, but it's very powerful. When I see a Tasigur deck, I know it has the potential to either combo off or just straight up kill somebody if it's a reanimator strategy very fast. So basically what it lets you do is be threatening. So people are wary that you can just straight up kill them if you wanted to, but give them this illusion of choice almost when you're being, oh, what card do I get? Who do you want me to use it on? And it makes them feel as if you're giving them some mercy. It's like, oh, he's not targeting me. He's letting me in on the fun, essentially.
Right.
And that mix of threat with friendliness is kind of where you need for this law, for those enemies to all of a sudden kind of come on over to your side, while at the same time being very aware if they cross you, they might be dead.
That's right. Second example that we have to give is Marith. This is a commander that gets bigger and bigger every time the more you cast it, and that makes it so much more dangerous because it also has that ability to ping other creatures and other players, and Marith can get dangerously large and strong or whatever. So you can deal out mercy at your will. I can either kill you or your creatures, or I can put counters on things, buff them up a little bit. So they're at your mercy when it comes to Marith.
And that's one of my favorite ways to use Marith. I love Marith as a commander. Crazy Fire Deer God is just such a cool card, both in art and in play. And one of the coolest things you can do is, like you said, you can get a hugely threatening board with a huge Marith. And you can be in a situation through a number of effects that you can just kill somebody or kill most of the table. And one of my favorite things to do is to throw those +1 counters onto other people's creatures and be like, you know what? I'll let you swing at somebody. You can keep the board state, kind of as a showing of good faith. And the best thing about Marith is when you throw those counters off, just coming back bigger the next time. So you're not really hurting yourself at all. And when it does come back bigger, they're aware of that. And that showing of good faith while you're still that threat, all of a sudden they have no choice but to be loyal to you and help you out. And that's where you get that essentially better than a friend in Commander, is where you get that person kind of doing your bidding.
Yeah, it's true. So the thing to keep in mind with these examples that we gave is that it's about power dynamic. Sometimes you may be trying to vie for power to get to the top, get the #1 headband, or you may just be at the top, but you want to make sure that you stay at the top. And sometimes that means making friends out of enemies, not keeping and maintaining your friendships at the table, because like we said, that can just turn at any moment. Mm-hmm. But if you want to keep that #1 status, be the head honcho, the one that everyone is trying to come after, turn those enemies into friends. They'll do some of your bidding just enough to the point that you can maintain the balance at the table.
100%. And I guess with anything, it's always in moderation. If you give this person, if you kind of do too much to do too many nice things, help them along too much in the game, one of the things the law states is they might be ungrateful. They might think it was their own doing that got them to that point, not realizing it's you. So it's always got to be in moderation, so they are aware that you're the reason they're there, to allow that dynamic to go.
All right.
We sound like sociopaths
now. Hey, Magic Commander is it is what it is.
Yeah. So we are breeding sociopaths in this video so far.
use these with moderation.
Yeah.
Try not to.
Don't take it too seriously. You can have friends. Don't make everybody an enemy.
Remember the joke here, not the joke. Remember the thing here. We're just trying to see if we can apply these things to the game of Commander.
For sure.
Commander is, I mean, it's like a small little economy going on. So there's a little community thing going on. So there are these dynamics of power going on and transfers of power. So that's why I thought it'd be exciting to see if we can apply stuff from the business world into Commander. I see people do it all the time anyway when it comes to like, rolling dice or who goes first, turn order, draw, or mulligans. Like it's all there anyway. So let's just take it up a notch.
And it's true. Sometimes too, you might lose 2, 3, 4 games back to back to back. That's when you break out this sociopathic stuff and you just get really all in on winning, and all these laws of power is coming real handy.
All right, so we're going to cut it off there before we do any more damage to the populace. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Command Center, specifically focused on the 48 Laws of Power. If you like what we do here, please like, subscribe, tell people about us. I hear that Reddit is a thing, apparently. Share us on Reddit. I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever. Also, check out our Patreon. We have a lot of good stuff on our Patreon that we want to offer to you. Even for just $1, you get so much for becoming a patron of ours. So until next time, until we hit the next law number 3, we'll see what we can do. But until next time, peace.